minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to give you something to read here about purple pipe. Very quickly, Dr. Tidwell, have you ever heard of purple pipe?
Yes, sir, I have.
Ms. Zeriner, is that right? Right that it's right, or right that you've heard about pipe?
Both.
Okay, good. Dr. Bonner?
I haven't heard about it.
Dr. Singh?
No, I haven't.
Dr. Weber?
Yes, and I've written extensively about it and done research on purple pipe.
Really? Okay. You know that it's a system that takes from a home or a business. It's not necessarily wastewater from the toilet, for example, but it may be from the sink or dishes or whatever. And it treats it to the extent that it doesn't have to be drinkable, but it could be used for irrigation and other things like that. And I thought perhaps that might be part of y'all's focus today, but we'll go in there later. Now, I'm from Texas, as Dr. Weber knows, and I often say that any state worth its salt has a desalination plant. And some of y'all get that on the way home. And we have one in Texas. Back in my days in the Texas State Legislature, I had the opportunity to tour a large-scale desalination plant in Brownsville. Have any of y'all been to that plant? She has, but y'all haven't. Ladies are always leading the way. Have y'all noticed that, gentlemen? It's okay to say yes. Okay. I'm going to get y'all softened up here. I've seen firsthand the amount of electricity required to convert brackish water to potable water. Dr. Singh and Dr. Tidwell, as you know, DOE recently announced $100 million in funding for an energy water desalination hub that we talked about, focused on early-stage research and development to explore those uses for non-traditional water sources and to develop new desalination technologies. So a couple of questions for you, and I'll start with you, Dr. Tidwell. Will the research funded by this hub focus on reducing the energy necessary to be used in those current desalination plants? Your thoughts?
Yes, sir, that's a good question. And yes, I think there are opportunities to help with existing plants. One example would be with improved membrane technology that would help reduce fouling. So that would be one example where
so the product, the output, the product would be cleaner, easier. But do you know what the #1 energy driver is in a desal plant, or need is in a desal plant?
it's the pressurization of the water.
It's the pumps.
Pump.
The pumps there in Brownsville, and I'm going back now 10 years, must have been this big around,
Yes, sir.
And the electricity required to drive those is really tremendous.
Which is forcing the water through those
Correct.
membranes. So anything that can help improve that permeability
Right.
would help reduce the
efficiency, get more water out a little cheaper.
Yes, sir.
Because they're bringing water, and I think it was a 12-inch pipe. Now I'm going from memory, from the Gulf of Mexico into Brownsville, and the distance they have to bring requires a lot of electricity and a lot of pumps. Do you agree with that, Dr. Sin, that that focus will be on increasing efficiency?
Yes, I agree, because conventional desalination requires, it's very energy intensive.
Yeah.
And the only reason you would do that is if you had no other source of potable water. There are technologies based on electrocoagulation, which can clean up what's going in before the membranes kick in. There are technologies using ceramic membranes, which can increase the efficiency, but that efficiency will need to go up.
Right. And of course, that's going to depend, let's face it, on the cost of electricity, right? And so I think we could all agree that the lower the price of natural gas is, the cheaper that energy companies can produce energy, that in and of itself will have a reduction in the cost of desalination. Would you all agree with that? Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you betcha. So fracking is a good thing. I'm glad we all agree on that. In your opinion, Dr. Tidwell, what impact could this hub have on your research? What would your role be?
Most of my work is around modeling and analysis, and so importantly, understanding how climate change affects the resilience of our energy water systems and integrating uncertainty in those changing climate, changing demands for water, changing technology, and how we can plan for a robust, resilient system going forward into the future.
How about you, Dr. Singh? Your research, how would you correspond? How would this impact you?
Two areas of research. One would be increasing efficiency of basically breaking up rock to increase extraction efficiencies, not only for fracking, but also for geothermal systems. And the second aspect would be, which we haven't talked about today, would be reducing the mitigation due to induced seismicity or reinjection. So these are the two areas that would be affected the most.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.